Hello, folks. Tonight, as usual, I'm going to read you the last 7 daily inspirations, the last 7 titles, and then you guys can choose one, and then we can start from there. And then I'll go ahead and read it, make a few comments, and start the class. Okay. April 8th, dedicating your day to gratitude. April 9th, awakening from the dream of judgment. April 10th, letting go of unloving thoughts. April 11th, the battlefield within our mind. April 12th, revisiting an eye for an eye.
Ooh.
April 13th, setting differences aside and supporting our sameness. And April 14th, consciously freeing ourselves from the past.
All of them.
Well, you can sign up in my website, chosentoremember.com, and you can receive
Yeah,
them.
I'm on there. Yeah, I'll listen to them. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so which ones?
How about the battlefield in our mind? That sounds interesting.
Okay, the battlefield within our mind, that's April 11th.
And I like the last one.
The last one too? Okay,
It
let me
could be
see.
both.
The last one was consciously freeing ourselves from the past.
Yeah. Good one. That's a good one. That one.
Let's see if maybe we can do a couple.
That's good too.
Okay, Samir, you said battlefield within our mind, right?
Yeah, I'm good with both.
Okay, so let's start there, since that was the first one mentioned. The battlefield within our mind, April 11th, is 2 paragraphs long. Then I'll make a few comments on it. Okay, imagine being a soldier trying to clear a hostile section of a block. You go house to house, room by room, with your gun in hand, tensed up, and ready to shoot back at any perceived attack. With every person, noise, or situation that's out of the norm, your training kicks in. Adrenaline flows, defenses heighten, and your attack begins. Even when we take this intensity down quite a few notches, isn't this the way many people on this planet are living their lives? Don't most people immediately judge and put up defenses against anything or anyone that does not fit into their mold or way of thinking? Isn't this an exhausting, anxiety-producing, and insane way to live? Going into every room, every situation with judgments in hand, ready to fire at anyone and anything that does not fit into the ego's idolatry? Paragraph 2. Today, let us recall that the ego's battlefields are not our true home. Let us do this by answering the ego's call for judgment with forgiveness, its demands for condemnation with compassion, and its insistence to be right with our choice to be happy. By doing so, we turn its calls for conflict and war into opportunities to choose peace and joy. This is how we raise ourselves above the battlefields. This is how we learn to lead others out of the darkness, confusion, conflict, chaos, and pain of the ego's mindset and world. Today, let us recall that as God's creations, only the love in all of us could ever be real or true. Today, above the battlefield, let us remind others, by the way we treat them, that the road to peace and joy is always just a simple choice away. End of paragraph 2. All right. So roughly, what we're discussing here is that the amount of pain we end up suffering in this world, it's not so much due to the outer world as much as how we define the outer world. Okay? So you're always defining what people are saying to you. So somebody can call you whatever mean thing they call you, right? Then the ego would say, okay, they called you a mean thing, therefore you must blame them. And you must be angry at them and be resentful at them. So it's always, the attack is always out there. Why does the ego want you attacking things or people out there instead of looking at within yourself? Because when you attack people out there, then what you're doing is you're giving your power away to them. they have the power over you. Okay, so that's what the ego wants. The ego wants you to believe that the world outside of you has power over you. When you allow the ego to take control of your thoughts, then yes, those outside of you seem to have power over you. So when they say mean things about you, it is them you have to blame, the ego says. But what the ego doesn't tell you is that when you blame them, you give your power away to them. But in reality, whatever somebody says or does, you have to define. So it's your definition of the experience that brings you peace or pain. So you see, it's not out there or where peace or pain begin. It's within you. So you're going to choose to live in peace or in pain. If you choose to live in pain with the ego, then you're going to judge those that judge you. You're going to condemn those that condemn you. You're going to be fearful and anxious and worried when others tell you that you should be fearful, anxious, and worried. That's when you live in hell. That's when you live in the ego's battlefield. When you think that the outer world has control over your peace of mind. That's not true. Remember, it's always you who define your experience. So it's always you who can lead yourself to peace or to pain. To trusting in the divine, or to worrying and feeling fear and anxiousness and doubt. Okay, you decide. You have the final choice to decide. Where will I live? And where are you supposed to live? Are you supposed to live out there in the darkness of the ego's mindset and world? Or are you supposed to live aligned with the light inside of you that God created you to be? Obviously, you know that answer. You belong aligned with the light inside of you, right? So forgiveness is an expression of the light inside of you, not judgment. Judgment is of the ego. Compassion is an expression of the light inside of you, not condemnation. Condemnation is of the ego. Trust in God is an expression of the light inside of you, not doubt, fear, worry, or anxiousness. That's of the ego. And so in that, every day, you decide how much you support the ego's darkness or the light inside of you. Is your world dark? It is only dark because you're supporting the darkened thoughts of the ego. Is your world filled with light and peace and joy? That's because you're choosing, consciously or not, to align with the mind of God, with love, trusting in His divine design.
Working in progress.
And so, yes. And so the amount of pain, the battlefield, one of the things the Course in Miracles says, you have to raise yourself above the battlefield. Okay? Go above the battlefield. Don't sit in the battlefield. Don't fight those who fight you. Forgive those who fight you. Put down the sword, dig it into the dirt. Put down the sword of judgment. And be at peace. Choose peace. I can choose peace instead of this. And that's in the end, after all is said and done, what you can choose. I can choose peace instead of this. If my brother or sister judge and condemn me, you know what? I can choose peace instead of this. How do I get to peace? Through forgiveness, through compassion, through kindness, through understanding, through mercy, through grace. And that's not saying, hey, if somebody's being mean every single day of your life, you don't have to remain in the physical location with them, but you can leave in peace, you know. And so remember, the choice for peace is always yours. You have the power, not the outer world. Any comments or questions in regards to this?
I understand this, James, but my question is, how do we apply this to ourselves where it's so easy to forgive or compassion to others, but to apply it to ourselves? Oh my God, that's so hard. There's nobody checking.
Okay. Remember, you have to be careful what words you use and how you describe those words. Okay. So you have to be extra sensitive when it comes to how you're defining your experience. Okay. Because see what you did there? You said to do this for myself is hard. Okay. So what do you think it's going to be easy or hard for you if you keep on unconsciously telling yourself that it's hard? It's
Hard.
actually how could who you are be hard to be?
बड़ी वाली drinks यहाँ पे भी है.
Wait a second, let me figure out. It doesn't say who's speaking here, but okay. Okay. Usually there's like a little green box when somebody talks, I can kind of mute them. But okay. Anyway, okay. So Samir, you're saying, well, this might be easy for me to forgive somebody else. Then it becomes easy for you to forgive somebody else and have peace. But then you say, when I'm judging myself, that's hard for me to have peace. So is it going to be easy or is it going to be hard in your life for you to find personal peace when you're speaking to yourself? It's going to be hard because you trained yourself to think that it's hard. But if you are God's creation, if you are love itself, and peace is an expression of love, how can peace be difficult? In reality, it is impossible for peace to be difficult because you are, in essence, peace. That's your natural state of mind, is peace. What is hard, in quotes, is when you try to remove yourself from being who you truly are, which is peace. So it's hard to think that you're not at peace. That's a really hard thing. When you're unconsciously saying to yourself that it's hard not to have peace, that's hard. That's hard to do because you're telling yourself you're somebody you're not. Okay, so stop that. Don't punish yourself for that. Just stop it. Just stop lying to yourself. Peace is easy, not hard. Why is peace easy? Because peace is who I am. How can it be hard to be who you truly are? That's not possible. Now it's hard, in quotes, to be who you are not and to support who you are not as true and real. Okay? So if you think you can have peace when you're speaking to yourself, that's because it's hard being who you are not. And that's what you're doing. You're being who you are not. So be who you truly are. Be who God created you to be, which is peace. Renata, you have your hand up.
Hi,
Can I say,
James.
oh, go ahead.
Okay. Hi, James. Thank you. One thing that is, as you know, I started studying the Course in Miracles long time ago, and then I think there's a concept that turns me off, and then I came back again to the same group, and then again is that I'm not actually challenging the A Course in Miracles. It's just how I see how sometimes people apply or sometimes say one things, but then I see the actions are a little different than what they say. So because as I think it was discussed that the A Course in Miracles don't acknowledge duality. Is that correct?
They do not acknowledge duality.
Yeah, the course.
Yes and no. They kind of say there's in reality there's oneness, right? That's reality.
Right.
That's truth. But in this world, on this
Yeah.
planet, we're using duality.
Right.
But the idea is to bring oneness into duality. So,
Right.
so duality can become oneness, an expression of heaven on earth.
Okay. Okay, so my question is that, for example, I'm reading a book about sensitive is the new strong and talks about people that are empaths, you know, and I am very high on being on an empath. So meanwhile, so I feel somebody else's pain, let's say,
Yeah.
you know, and but then when the talk, the course says that when you're feeling, it's a projection, right? That you're like I'm feeling somebody else's suffering, so I think according to the course is like it's not really their suffering, but it's my projection, so I need to correct my projection. So if that's so, it means that I don't need to help anyone, right, who I see that is suffering, because it's just everything is an illusion. Is that correct to think like that?
No.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Okay,
Remember, let's create a foundation. Okay.
right,
The foundation about what to do is do what brings you peace.
okay.
Okay, that's the foundation.
Mm.
So if it brings you peace if it brings you peace to help excuse me for a second.
Let's go, baby.
If it brings you peace to help somebody, then help somebody. If it brings you peace to let them go through their thing by themselves, then let them go through their thing by themselves. So it's not about not helping others. It's about this helping others bring me peace. If it does, then help others. If not, then let them go through their situation with God and with the other people. So it's not right or wrong to help others. You have to look inside of yourself and say, does helping this person bring me peace? If the answer is yes, help them. If the answer is no, they have to go through their own thing, then don't help them. It's very simple.
Very
And
simple.
helping them is not any greater than not helping them. Helping them is what, if you brings you peace, then help them. If you're too worried about helping them because let's say they're homeless and you don't know, and you're like a woman and you're small and they're like big homeless guys and you don't know their mental state, so you're worried about helping them, then don't help them. It's okay. God will take care of them. God is going to take care of them. But if you're worried about helping them, then don't help them. Then be at peace not helping them. Maybe you can help them another way. Maybe you can send some money to a homeless shelter or whatever.
Right. So what you're saying is like just to connect to how I feel, and
Yes.
then I will know if it's right or wrong for me on
Individually,
okay, okay.
to help or not help. Yes.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. You make it very easy.
Yes.
Thank you.
And when you're feeling, a lot of us in this modality, we're
Very
pretty open to the energies around us. And so we do feel other people's pain. But the thing there is that is not our pain to carry.
right.
They're going through that process, and that's a holy process for them.
Okay.
It's not for us to carry their pain. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And so whenever you feel that person's pain, consciously say to yourself, that is not my pain to carry. I will help in whatever way I can, in whatever way it brings me peace, but that is not my pain to carry. That's their sacred process in life. And so they will release it at their own time and sacred pace. And so don't get attached to other people's pain. That's not yours.
Hmm.
That's not for you to carry. That's for them to process. Like let's say if it's a difficult thing that they have to process. Let's say like you're eating meat
Right.
and you're
Right.
eating steak. It takes a long time to digest, right?
Right.
And so maybe that really difficult thing is going to take them a long time to digest, but they have to digest it. They have to go through it because that's something they've decided to go through. Okay. So it takes them whatever time it takes them, and it's perfect for them. Now, let's say you're eating a salad, then that takes less time to digest, right?
Hmm.
So if they
Yeah.
have a little bit less pain, they'll just go through it quicker. But whatever time it takes them to process their pain, that is perfect for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Always remind yourself, I co-created my journey with the divine, with perfection, and so my journey is perfect for me, no matter what the ego says. My brother and sister they co-created their journey with God. And so their journey, no matter what the ego says about it, is perfect for them. They will use their journey to grow, heal, and awaken, and then they will use their life experience to help other people heal. That's how it works. And when those people who've gone through serious trauma start helping others who've gone through serious trauma, they'll start to see why they went through the trauma in the first place. Because God was offering them spiritual tools. And obviously they were very brave souls to go through that process, because some lives are very difficult. And so those people who choose those lives, those are pretty serious, pretty advanced souls, okay? Because when you're in heaven and you're choosing your life experience, if you choose a really difficult life, you have some, you have some serious cojones, as the Mexicans would say. And so, you know, just bow down to them, you know, say, hey, interesting life you've chosen there. But they will go through the journey, and everything, their life experience, they're going to use for good. They're going to use to help bring light into the darkness. And so, you know,
thank you. Thank you very much, because this is the way you explain it's. I understand it perfectly. I just don't understand, and I thought it was something that most people understand studying the A Course in Miracles. It's like, oh, everything's a projection. Everything's an illusion. So it means that nobody is really suffering out there. It's just me, you know. So that was the problem that I had, you know, that, okay, so then I don't need to do anything. Even if I feel like helping somebody, I don't need to. All I need to do is work on myself all the time, you know, and work on my projections, because there's nobody suffering out there. It's just me, you know, and that's really a problem for me.
Yes.
But thank you.
Yeah, when you study any book of truth, just study it with an open mind and an open heart. And do this. This is the only thing you have to do when you study any book of truth. Use whatever you find useful and disregard the rest. Just place the rest aside. If you don't buy it, place it aside. No big deal. No big deal. Just place it aside and use whatever you find useful. That way you can read all these beautiful books of truth and read the whole thing and find the parts that work for you, and then implement those parts in your life. And let the rest go. Don't worry about the rest.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate.
Laura, you have your hand up?
Yes, I would like to say, in response to, what was the name? Renita. I also felt like I'm an empath too. I hurt for everybody, but we did a class with James, and he helped me to see that a lot of times I was trying to save everybody from going through what I went through. And I wasn't doing it. I was doing it for myself. Does that make sense? I wasn't doing it out of love. I was doing it out of how did you explain it, James? I wasn't doing it in a peaceful way. It wasn't peaceful for me. I want to save everybody, because I don't want them to suffer like I've suffered, but that's not my call to do that. It's only my call, like he said, to what I've been through is to be able to pass that on to people, to give them the tools in order that they can make it through, you know, and to do whatever I do because it's out of love, not out of a need for what I need. That's what I want to say. It was basically what I needed to feel good about me. And so when I'm in my everyday now, I'm really cognizant of how I'm feeling sorry for people. And I'm trying to talk myself out of, you know, not rushing in and trying to help them, not always having the answer, and to let them just figure it out for themselves. And I feel more peaceful now. I feel really peaceful. And even what Samir was saying, I forget what was Samir saying, because I wanted to comment, but it's been so long, I've forgotten what he said. the question that he had was about what was it he asked?
Or it was about applying those things to yourself as opposed to when it's harder to apply to yourself than it is applied to others.
Okay, well, I thought it was until I've started doing this course, just in the last few lessons, and what is it you said? I'm so in my thoughts. I'm so in my thoughts. I'm lost. I just lost myself. I just lost myself. No, it's not hard to do it for yourself. It's not. If what I've learned is to take care of me and to have peace within me, and not try to just reach out. I lost my whole thought. I had a whole thought that I was going to say, but I lost it.
It's okay. You'll remember. But the thing is, when you start to feel, let's say, sorry for others, okay, and then when you're feeling sorry for others, you start to kind of like feel what they're feeling, and then that brings you down.
Yes.
You know, uh, this is the simple thing you want to practice doing. Okay.
Okay.
When you're feeling sorry for others, use those moments, but not to join them in their sorrow. Okay. That's what the ego wants. The ego wants you to join them in their sorrow. Why? Why does the ego want that? Because if you're sorrowful and God is only love, how could somebody who's sorrowful be part of what is only love, what is only perfect and perfect joy? It can't. And so when the ego traps you into alignment with sorrowness, I don't even know if that's a word, but sorrowfulness. Okay. Okay, when the ego traps you there, guess what happens? It has you. It has you its side.
Yeah.
It has you separate from source.
Yeah.
That's what the ego wants. So what you want to do is the following. When you start to feel sorry for some other people, you know what you do? You place them in God's hands. You visualize them in God's hands. And you close your eyes and you pray for them and you say, God, I'm not going to join the person A or B in their sorrow. I'm simply going to put them in your hands. And I know that you will take care of them and that they are going to be all right. They are perfect exactly where they are because that's what they have co-designed with you. And so their journey is perfect. It's only when my ego gets involved that I judge their journey. Okay, their journey is perfect for them. They will go through whatever it is they need to go through to achieve the life experience they need to help other people heal. Okay? And so their journey is perfect. Place them in God's hands. Don't sink deeper into the sorrowfulness, into the despair, into the darkness. That only sinks you deeper into despair and darkness when you
Yes, it
join
does.
the ego.
Yeah.
And so use those moments. Learn to use those moments to go to God and place them in God's hands, knowing that everything is going to be all right. They will process their experience in their own sacred time and place. You do, as we said before, whatever brings you peace. Help them in whatever way you can. But it's not for you to join their sorrow. It's not for you to carry their cross. Okay, you don't have to carry their cross. Okay, somebody already overcame the cross a couple thousand years ago. You don't have to carry any more crosses. That's done with. Okay, but if you allow the ego to take control of your mind, then you're going to join in the darkness,
Yes.
the sorrowfulness, and you're going to sink deeper into despair and into the delusion of the ego's mindset and world. Okay.
Yeah.
But don't punish yourself for that. You just practice recognizing when the ego is trying to take control of your mind. And when is that? When you yourself start to feel sorrowful or sad for others. No, that's not what you're here for. You're here to be a light in the world. So you're here to remind yourself, I'm the light of the world. Like I'm the light of the world that God created me to be. How can I best help my brother or sister? By being that light. What's an expression of light? Hope is an expression of that light. Healing is an expression of that light. Joy is an expression of that light. Peace is an expression of that light. So that's what you're here to do for them. You're here to be that light at the end of the tunnel for them. You're here to show them that there is a better way to deal with their situation than the way they're doing so. there might be a better way than what they're thinking. There is a light at the end of the tunnel if they look God's way. Yes.
And it takes so much off your shoulders. It's so freeing not to have that burden on your shoulders of having to save the world, because that's not our job. You know, we not got, it's not our job, and we can't, you know, sometimes we try to save people from their lesson and we do them a great disservice.
Yes. 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 You're not there to save the world. There's somebody here to save the world, and it's not me, and it's not any of us. But don't worry about it. Everything's going to be all right. You do your job. I do my job. We all do our jobs as our unique expression of our light. Like you do your job and helping people with trauma, Lori. I do my job with helping people remember who they truly are. We all do our job in our own little place in life. And that's what we're here to do. Isabel, you have your hand up?
Yes. Hi, good evening.
Hello.
Joy, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I was facing a situation where a friend of mine got a DUI, and you know how it goes. It's a threat to her license, employment, because the record, you know, goes driving under the influence. It's nothing, of course. It looks bad, ruin your reputation professionally in every angle. But anyway, so after I felt the pain, I felt, you know, it was like, you know, the many attempts that she tried to be sober and couldn't. Lie, because we was lying to ourselves, and I mean to us and to herself. No, yes, I am. Oh no, yeah, I have a sponsor. Oh yeah, I'm doing the steps. Yeah, I'm going to meetings, but was not going, was not invested, you know, because sometimes we try to learn something, but we are not like committed to do the job. So I think this is something positive, you know, out of this negative, there is a greater plan that we don't see, we don't understand in this moment, very moment. You know, we could go like, oh my God, you know, what happened? I'm so sorry. Yes, but you know what? As you were saying, don't try to save, particularly when they don't call us. Don't try to help if they don't are asking for help. And maybe we're not gonna be the ones to save that situation or the problem. It's gonna be somebody. Actually, it's gonna be something greater than ourselves. Feel powerless to surrender and then see, you know, okay, God, this is the things that I went through because I wanted to do things my own way. I was not following your way. I was not being obedient to the laws of the universe, you know. So I think it's I after I, you know, try to how can I help, what can I do? I started like, okay, calm down, Isabel. Calm down. You know, don't go where you are not being called. Don't do things that, you know, in the past you tried to help and sacrifice yourself. And then gaining nothing because I tried helping and then nothing happened. So maybe this time, you know, let them be. Let them learn the lesson from their own. If they have to touch rock bottom, just let them do. And after that touching rock bottom, probably the only way is going up. And I think it's a blessing. You know, it's a blessing when things like that happen. It could happen to me. It could happen to any one of us. In that way and different way. Times, you know, it happened to me the other day. I was like, you know, driving home and coming out of the Publix. I think was very confident I was going fine. I just make a right and all of a sudden one car, boom, you know, hit me on my door. So, and the many times that I've been driving a little bit carelessly. So that hit in my door, it was you know, on my slap on the face to me, like wake up. I mean, it's I'm telling you, I'm warning you, This time you save, you fine, but maybe next time won't be that soft of the slapping. So I was like, oh my God, I had to start driving more safe, more like, mindful of what I'm doing. So yeah, it cost me a few thousands, and it cost me a couple of, more a month without a car, a rental. But I was like, I need to learn my lesson. Sometimes the hard way.
Yeah, so whenever, let's say the friend with a DUI, okay? When you have a DUI, and I'm not gonna say anything, but back in the day, I might have had one myself. Okay? The ego is gonna say that DUI is bad. You were bad for having the DUI, you're not a spiritual person, you're not whatever enough, you know? Remember, each and every part of your journey you have co-designed with God. So maybe the DUI is something that's going to bring you to a higher level of self-awareness. Okay, so trust in the divine design. When I had my DUI like 35 years ago or whatever it was, when I was a young man, and I crashed my car into a tree, and then the tree was in a synagogue, and then but everything turned out fine. But I said to myself, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? So I like stopped drinking like 33 years ago, whatever. But so see, that crash, when I had that DUI, the world would say that's a terrible thing that happened to you. No, that was a great thing. I decided this is absolutely ridiculous. Let me stop drinking. And so, we all have our quote unquote bottoms, okay? But it's not for us to judge other people's journeys. They have to go through whatever it is they have to process, and their processing is perfect and sacred for them. When you had your car crash, okay, the ego's gonna say, well, maybe I wasn't paying attention, maybe I wasn't doing X or Y or Z. Okay, no, it was a little nudge from the universe inviting you to maybe pay a little more attention or whatever it is. I don't know, but the thing is that you're not less than for having a car crash. You had a car crash, okay? That's part of your experience. Say, God, thank you very much for, in this car crash, for not getting injured. My back is fine, my neck is fine, I don't have anything broken. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, and hopefully the other person is fine too. Okay, so don't think that only because the ego defines something as bad that it is bad. Okay, everything is a perfect part of our journey, and so don't diminish your journey because we're all one, right? So if you don't diminish your journey, you say, okay, well, I had a car crash, interesting. Let me see what I can learn from this and move on. Then you use it, and you have this life experience that you can share with others. And so all these life experiences that we begin to have in our lives, these are all teaching tools that we're going to use in the future. And so they're all okay. And your friend's DUI, she's where she's at, or he's where he's at, and he's going to be okay. Just always remember to pray for them and help be a light for them in the world, and help them see that there might be a better way, and they will find it, God willing, and at their own time and place. Yes. Any other comments or questions?
Well, as a prayer chaplain, that's what I started to do, praying harder than before. I even called Silent Unity, and I put it in prayer. And then I was like, I need to trust. I need to trust like it is in God's hands. It's everything's in divine order. So I shouldn't worry. Just focus on myself, on my growth as well, and what can I do for somebody else. And a prayer is one of the best ways to help somebody.
Yes. Lori, do you still have your hand up, or did you just didn't wait? Okay. Is this React? You can raise your hand, and you can also lower your hand after it's raised. Yes,
I
sir.
have a comment. I appreciated what you were saying, James, about when we're seeing someone suffering, like we've been trained to feel bad for someone and that we're a good person if we feel bad for someone, that someone who we love is suffering, we should feel bad. And what it's do, I like how you're saying we're just lowering ourselves into a negative vibration or, a denser vibration, and we're not helping them by doing that. And we're not helping ourselves. So it's just a good reminder. I appreciate that. It's just a real shift in how we've been trained to behave when it comes to helping someone or someone we love who's suffering. So I really like that. Just we help them more by being loving and being our bright light, not our diminished light, which is what we were taught. We were supposed to diminish ourselves because if someone we love is sad, then we should feel sad. So thank you for that reminder.
Yes, there's always two things. There's God's plan for the universe, which is your highest will plan for the universe. Your highest will and God's will are one, okay? And then there's the ego's plan for the universe. when the ego is in control of your mind, then you're gonna say, well, person A or B is sad. Oh my God, let me join in their sadness. That's bad. It's bad that they're sad. Let's say, well, the ego would say, oh, it's so bad that they're sad. How do you know that? How do you know that sadness is not something they will in some way, shape, or form use to help heal themselves, help enlighten the world? Okay? When you trust in the divine design, you honor their place, wherever they're at. If they're happy, you honor that. If they're sad, you honor that. They're exactly where they need to be to have the life experience they need to do what they have come here to do, which is to be a light in the world. Maybe they go through that sadness and maybe they come out of it and find a place of joy. Now maybe they have this life experience where they can use this experience of going through the sadness, of going through the darkness, to help other people go through that darkness and find their way back to the light inside of them. But it was only because they were sad in the first place that they now have the life experience, the spiritual tools to help those who are sad. And so you see, if they use this sadness to help others awaken from their sadness, to help others bring them back into the light inside of them, was that sadness ever bad in the first place? If they used it for so much good? No. That sadness was perfect for them and perfect for this world. But the ego would disagree. The ego would say, oh, I have to save person X because that person X is sad. Save them. That's not the journey I want for them. That's not the journey they should have. How do you know? How do you know that?
The ego also says to us, oh, if we're not sad with them, they're going to think that I'm bad.
Yes, exactly. Yes. The guilt. The ego loves guilt and shame. And so the ego's going to try to guilt you into feeling sad with them, because what is the ego really doing? It's trying to separate you from an all loving, all joyful source. It's trying to put you in alignment with it so that you can be separate from source, so the ego can use you. So the ego, and it uses you, why? Because the ego wants to survive. And it has to survive through you. But if you join source, if you join joy, if you honor their process, the ego begins to dissolve away into the nothingness from which it came.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that I could resonate with that so much, especially with my kids when they're sad. I know it's dark here, but anyways, when they're sad, it's so difficult for me, and I've realized that it's my own discomfort that I don't want to experience, my own I guess, yeah, discomfort for their sadness versus seeing it as their opportunity to grow. If I take that away from them, they're not, if someone's constantly always trying to make them happy or take away their sadness or whatever negative emotion they have, then they will not learn how to deal with their emotions. And as a therapist, I mean, I see it all the time, right? And it's easier for me to hold space for the people I work with. But my kids, it's gotten easier, but I won't say it's fun.
Yeah, my thing with that parenting is if my kids are sad, then my ego tells me I'm a bad parent.
Hmm. Yeah, or what could I do, or what have I done? Yeah, definitely. What have I done, or what can I do to rectify this? And my daughter has already fired me as her therapist. I mean, I was never her therapist, but she's like, "Stop it." I'm like, "Okay, I will." But it's quite a humbling experience with our kids.
Yes. And the ego's going to try to trick us into thinking, well, our kids are much closer to us than person X or Y. So it's a lot harder for us to allow them to have their experience, right? That's what the ego's going to say. Or the ego's going to personally judge you for X or for not being whatever kind of parent, okay? So what you want to do is that you want to not get sucked into that idea that for some reason their sadness is bad for them, or their sadness is a reflection of your own teaching
Yeah,
or whatever. Okay,
yeah,
no, they have a divine co-creation with God. Okay, and so you have to just remember. Wait a second. Their journey is perfect for them. They're going to use whatever it is they're going through to help themselves remember who they truly are and who they no longer desire to be. Whatever expressions, whatever experiences I don't want to have anymore that lead me to sadness, and what I can do in order to let go of that sadness. So they're going to learn through that experience, that a slight, beautiful life experience. And so first, whenever that happens, whenever you want to somehow heal your child's sadness, first remember, their journey is a sacred co-creation with the divine. Their journey is perfect for them. Yes, you can be a light for them, but you can be there as a light, and they will see your light, and then they might ask you questions, and all of a sudden, you can answer, and they'll listen because they asked. Okay, and then after you place them in God's hands. When they're sad, don't join them in their sadness. Go to God. Go straight to God, and say a little prayer for them. Say, God, I know they're in your hands. I know they're going to be okay. I know they're going to go. They're going to process this. They're going to digest this, and everything's going to be okay. And they're going to use this as a life experience that's going to make them stronger. Thank you, God. Always remember to thank God, because whatever's going on in their life, that's perfect for them. And when you know that it's perfect for them, the only response you're going to have in each moment with them is going to be one of gratitude, because you know that God has their back, that perfect love has their back. And perfect love knows what he's doing. So, so yes,
And
just continue to be the light for them. And if they want advice, hey, you're there to offer them advice. And when they ask you, that's when they're open to hearing to what you have to say.
And
yeah,
we give people advice, and a lot of times they don't want it. People, we then when you do something for somebody and they don't appreciate it because they never asked you for it, and then you get upset and you say, well, I did XYZ for you, to this person. They didn't even say thank you. Well, they didn't ask. We did that because that's what we thought, was good for them. And who are we to know what's good for others? Even our children, I have kids. They don't listen to us anyway, And then in life, they blame us for everything, especially the mothers. We get blamed for everything that goes wrong. Well, it was your fault. What did I have to do with it? So, yeah, it's best just to give it when it's asked and just keep it short.
yeah.
Keep it short,
That is the trick. Yeah,
Yeah, yes, keep working on yourself, keep becoming a brighter and brighter light, keep being a beacon of peace and joy and healing and hope and mercy and grace. And you know what? We're all one. We all want, knowingly or not, we all want the same thing. We all want to be a light in the world. We all want to be a beacon of mercy, of grace, of hope, of healing, of joy, of peace. We all want that. And so our sons and daughters, guess what? They want that too. Maybe they're unconscious of it, but deep down inside, they know they want to have peace. They know they want to be joyful. They want to be happy. They want to feel fulfilled. And so work on yourself and become those things, become that light. And little by little, we'll still see, wow, look at my mom. She's like really happy and peaceful. You know what? I kind of want to be happy and peaceful too. So let me ask her what's going on.
And the ego uses our children because they know that's what's going to hurt us the most, especially as a mother. And they use our children to make us feel guilty and make us to feel less than, and to you know, yeah, they yeah.
Yes, the ego is like a wise old fisherman. Okay, the wise old fisherman has a whole bunch of baits, right? And that wise old fisherman just goes to whatever the lake or the ocean, and he knows what bait to use. And so he knows what bait to use with you,
Yeah.
with all of us. And so he just switches baits until he finds the right one, and then you're hooked.
Yeah.
That's the ego. But yes, your sons and daughters' journeys are perfect. You did exactly what they needed in their life. They chose you even before they came here. Out of 8 billion, out of 4 billion mothers, they chose you as a mother. Okay, and so whatever it is that you offered them is what they needed to experience in order to fulfill their purpose on Earth.
Wow.
Okay, and so whatever it is that you offered them, that was the perfect thing that they needed. Sometimes it's love, sometimes it's a lack of love, sometimes it's fear, and sometimes it's not fear, sometimes it's peace. But whatever it is that you offered them, let us first remember that we're always at our highest level of development, emotional and spiritual development. So we're always doing the best we can with the emotional and spiritual tools we have available to us. So even if the quote unquote the ego says we failed, and the ego loves that, the idea of failure, which is not even real. Okay, just remember you offered them exactly what they needed to fulfill their purpose on Earth, and so you played your part, and now they're going to play their part, and your part is perfect, and their part is perfect. This is a divine design created by perfection, and perfection only creates perfectly. And so you are perfect. Your sons and daughters are perfect, no matter what the ego says. And their sons and daughters will also be perfect, no matter what the ego says.
I don't think it's a coincidence that our offspring best mirror us, that we can see ourselves through those closest to us and see the oneness, see the connection with that mirror.
Yes. Yes, they're an external reflection of our internal condition and conditioning. And so let us be grateful to that, for them, for revealing our internal condition externally. And so each and every person out there in the world is simply a reflection of your internal condition and conditioning. And so when somebody shows you something, thank them for that. Oh, really? Okay. I guess I need to do a little work there. That's okay. That's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. Yes.
James, I remember when I was going through separation with my husband, and how I still hear today from a person that I was considering to start some therapy, that I shouldn't have divorced because that creates like a trauma in my kids, and that's not natural.
Yes.
And I remember you telling me that it is perfect for them. You know, they're 3 years old, but their soul are prepared for that. And in reality, I'm so much more peaceful right now than I was when I was married. And based on what you said, if I just check in with my feelings, I know it was the right decision.
Yes, beautiful. Yes. Because now you're so much more peaceful. Now you become a beacon of peace for them. Now you become an example of how can I be at peace, right? And so again, yes,
Yeah.
your children on a higher realm before they even came in, they knew they would be with parents who, at the age of 3, would be divorced. They already knew that, and so that's exactly what they needed for whatever reason. We don't know the reason, but for whatever reason, that's what they needed, and that's what they asked for, and that's what they received for X or Y reason. And after all is said and done, you became the beacon of peace. So now they're going to have you as an example of, I can have peace instead of this. Whatever the world throws their way, they're going to remember their mom, who's always at peace, who's usually at peace. And I'm gonna go, you know what, mom usually deals with this in a peaceful way. Let me ask her how she does this. And so, yes, now after your divorce, after your separation, you know, the Course in Miracles says relationships don't end; they just change forms. Okay, so your relationship with your husband doesn't end; it just changed forms, and that's perfectly fine as it is now. And so your kids understood that even before they arrived. And so you offered them exactly what they needed. So be at peace with that.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Any final comments or questions? 7:56.
This was beautiful. It was right on what I needed to hear. Thank you, James, and everybody for your comment.
James, I have a question. There was a lady in class yesterday. She mentioned that God is trying to talk to us all the time. It's whether we are hearing it. Can you just elaborate on that?
Yes. Okay. I want you to imagine that every moment, every experience, every situation, what it truly is a gift from God to you. Okay? So in every interaction you have, that person is offering him or herself as a gift from God to you. Out of 8 billion people, that person chose you, and out of 8 billion people, you chose them in that moment, in the present moment. In quotes, present moment, gift. And so each situation in reality, when properly perceived, is a gift from God to you. And when you recognize that, that's when you become a gift to this world. All right? And so the moment is a gift from God to you. And when you recognize that and you become a light in the moment by listening to what aspect or expression of love you can be in that moment, and you become a gift to the world. Okay? And so, see, God is always offering you in every moment a gift for you to grow, to heal, to awaken, to remember who you truly are, and to offer who you truly are. And when you offer who you truly are, whatever expression of love the moment or those individuals seem to be requesting, you reinforce it within yourself, and you become a brighter and brighter light as you offer your brothers and sisters what God is inviting you to express to them through the expression of love. And so when you allow God to flow through you, and you offer that expression of love in that moment that your brother or sister seems to be requiring or requesting, when you allow that flow to go through, it gets reinforced inside of you. Yes, this is who I am. Thank you, God, because all goodness comes from God. So thank you, God, for offering me the wisdom to be an expression of love in this moment for my brother and sister. Because I know that this expression of love, I was only able to offer because you are love. And so you give the glory to God in your heart. In your heart, you give the glory to God because that's where the water flows through. You are a faucet. You can close the faucet or you can open the faucet. If you open the faucet, all that comes through you is love. If you close the faucet and you think that you're the source of love, okay, try that. But I would invite you to open the faucet and allow God to flow through you in each moment and every interaction. Simply learn to listen. Listen. And ask yourself, ask your heart, what expression of love is my brother or sister requesting from me right now? God, Holy Spirit, Christ. What expression of love can I offer my brother and sister right now? And then offer them only that. Do only what God would have you do. Don't worry about what your ego thinks you should do. Just do what God would have you do. That's what you're here to do. You're here to just allow God to flow through you and offer the reminder that God is available to them even here, even now, even in their pain and suffering. God is available through you. You are here when they're sad. Maybe you listen non-judgmentally. That's an expression of love. Or maybe you offer them some source of wisdom or understanding. That's an expression of love. And so all you do, offer them love in whatever way whatever they seem to be requesting, whatever form of love. That's what you're there to do. That's everybody's primary purpose. Okay. In each moment and interaction, your primary purpose is to be the shining light, loving light, in your own unique way. We all have individual gifts. And so, yes. And so, yes. So, Samir, I hope that somewhat answered that question. God is always available to us. God is always speaking to us. We just have to listen. Just listen. Practice listening. And then be loved. And when you love, you're humbly representing God on earth, which is what we're here to do. Any final comments or questions before we close?
Thank you so much. This was a wonderful class. I really appreciated it.
Thank you. And the class will be available tomorrow at 5 p.m. on the YouTube site. I'm sure everybody here knows how to get there. And if you offer a like, that'll be appreciated by by the website and by YouTube and by me.
Agreed. It was
James.
very, yeah, thank you. Thank you,
James,
everyone.
Yes.
thank you.
Wendy, how's your dad, Wendy?
He's doing better today and yesterday.
Yay. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So we'll find out soon. When he goes to see the surgeon, we'll find out if he needs to have another procedure or not. But for right now, he's feeling a little bit better.
That's good.
Thank you
Good to hear.
very sweet.
You're welcome. You're welcome.